Okay, next is backward caste movement. So when we talk about backward caste movement, predominantly we discuss three movements here. So first one, that is Brahmins at one side and all the non-Brahmins like Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, Dalits will also be part of this, or you can even keep them separate. See, when we talk about the different caste group, we know that already: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, so these are the Varnas, and the Dalits, this is the Avarna. Okay, now when we talk about the first category, that is Brahmins versus non-Brahmins. So Brahmin means this group will be there, like this is one category, and non-Brahmins, every others, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra will be together. So in some books you will see the division between this. Brahmin versus non-Brahmins means like this. Some books you will see the Dalits also, okay, like this. So when we talk about Brahmin, non-Brahmin, this anyway both are fine. So this is first category of movement. In this you can give examples: Sociology Samaj, Justice Party movement, etc. Okay, we don't want to write the details of those movement, but you can just give the example. Then apart from that, Brahmins and upper Brahmins together. Okay, like Brahmins, upper Brahmin, upper non-Brahmins. Upper non-Brahmins means who will come here? These are the upper non-Brahmins, these two, right? So here Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya will come as one group, and that will be directed against Shudra. Okay, so Dalit will stay out. So this is the Sanskritization movement. I've told you mainly Shudras were trying to Sanskritize into the dominant caste in a particular area. So some area Brahmins were dominant, some area Kshatriyas were dominant, some area Vaishyas were dominant. So Shudras always tried to Sanskritize. So this movement was actually against Sanskritization to improve the status. Okay, so mainly it was Shudra. They can only go for Sanskritization. Dalits, when we discuss about Dalits, we don't talk about the concept of Sanskritization. Now, do you think this movement is possible post, Mandal Commission? Mandal Commission, I hope all of you know, that is giving the reservation for OBCs.
No sir,
yeah.
No sir.
So actually,
because they will not get the benefit of reservation.
Yeah, so this is basically done for what? Improving the caste status, right? Now you cannot see the trend of Sanskritization. You see the reverse. Even the Brahmins want to become Shudras or Dalits. So desanskritization is what you can see. So this is not visible in the modern day, especially because of this reservation which is given. The third category is everybody together. Every Varna will be together, like Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra will be together. Okay, and against the Dalit. So Dalit versus all. This is what pure Dalit movement. So you can get question backward caste movement. Okay, so in backward caste movement, what you will stress on? You will have to stress on this one. So backward caste means this is what we try to understand as the backward caste. These two are the backward caste, Shudra and Dalit. Okay, now when we talk about OBC, we are referring to this particular group. So this is your OBC group. It can be from different religion. It can be Hindu, because Shudra people might have converted to Muslim or Islam or Christianity. So they all will get the OBC status. Okay, those converted from this particular community. So this is the OBC. Okay, this is the SC reservation that you are going to talk about. Otherwise, tribal, we have already done the discussion, that is ST. Okay, now there is no possibility that you will try to improve your status, because you are getting the reservation, you are getting the advantage. Secular benefit is there, so nobody is interested in the ritual status. Rather than going for if you go for ritual status, you will not get that benefit. Secular benefit is more important in the contemporary society rather than the ritual benefit. Even the Brahmins are trying to become OBCs now. That means the reverse, that the desanskritization is what is more visible. Okay, so
and it is there, sir. In Bihar, there is a community in Brahmins. They have actually fought for this. They went for the movement and they got the OBC status.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a Bhat Brahman there in the Bihar. So there in the Bihar, they are in the OBC category, but in the UP and other states, they are not.
Okay, so this is the pure Dalit movement. So if the question is asked about Dalit movement, this is what you need to write. Here you will talk about Ambedkar movement, Mahar movement, every movement we will discuss here. Okay, Dalit Panther movement, everything we have to discuss here. So this is a pure Dalit movement. So the question can be asked about, even though in the syllabus it is backward caste movement, question can be asked like backward caste movement, question can be asked like Dalit movement also. So when it comes to backward caste, Dalit is also part of it. Okay, so when Dalit movement is asked, this is what you need to focus on. Okay, so here also mainly anti-Brahminical movement you will see. So let's look into this different types. It's not difficult one, you just need to read only. Normally in the class I'll just dictate it and it's over. Here also I'm doing the same thing. There is a huge regional variation in the caste hierarchy, leading to differences in the exploitative nature of caste system. This has resulted in emergence of different backward caste movements based on cleavages, methods, scope, etc. Backward caste, okay, movements are general movements aiming at improving the position of the backward caste like Sudras and Dalits. So when we talk about backward caste, we are very specific to Sudras and Dalits. So when we talk about backward caste movement, we are talking about this movement, their movement, Sudras and the Dalits movement. Okay. Now when we talk about Dalit movement, purely Dalit movement. So two categories are there. On the other hand, Dalit movements are more specific and aim at specific problems faced by the Dalits, okay, the untouchability that they are facing, various other kind of exploitation that they are facing, etc. M.S.A. Rao in his book Social Movement in India discussed three broad cleavages resulting into broadly three types of movements. What are they? First one I have discussed already, Brahmin versus non-Brahmin. So here Brahmin on one hand, non-Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra will be there together. Dalit also you can add here. So this is Brahmin versus non-Brahmin. Second, Brahmins and upper non-Brahmins versus Shudra. So Brahmins and upper non-Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya against Shudra. Okay, so this is the Sanskritization movement, Yadav movement in UP, etc. Then Dalit versus all. So here Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra and the versus Dalit. So here the pure Dalit movements. So first category, Satyashodhak Samaj by Jyoti Rao Phule in Maharashtra, okay, Justice Party movement. These two movements are against the Brahminical hegemony. So second one, the Sanskritization movement. So you can just read this. Movements based on abandonment of Brahminical ideology. These movements try to establish their own ritual ideology, etc. Third is more important, Dalit movement, untouchables, that is the Dalits versus all other caste. Okay, so Arya Samaj, Nadar movement by lower caste, different movements you can write example. You need to add, if you come across different movements, you can add here. The scope is unlimited. It all depends on your reading also. See, in case of social movements, I am only giving you the broad framework of your answer. It is not that you need to reproduce the same thing. You need to have an idea what all things that we have discussed under this movement, but you have to add a lot of content from your side. Okay, whether it is peasant movement, I have given you the broad framework. In case of backward caste movement also, there are different movements. Whatever you can collect, you need to refer to internet. You can go through Nitin Sangwan, you can go through IGNO, you can go through Veena Das, you can go through many other, especially social movement, the textbook Ghanshyam Shah have done well. Wajiram Not, if you see, he have also done well. So it is not possible for us to accommodate all those things. That's why I am giving you a broad framework, but if possible you can go through the Wajiram Notes also for this. It is really good in that. You'll get a lot of content. Okay, so I strongly recommend you to go for Wajiram here rather than Essential Sociology. That will be much better. Mahapatra's notes. So in the post-independence period, initially the backward caste movement witnessed a suppression mainly due to the promises made by the newly formed welfare state. Exactly the same thing we will discuss in future also. We have discussed it before also. In case of peasant movement also, immediately after independence, it got suppressed. When we discuss about women movement also, we do the same. When we discuss about environmental movement also, we discuss the same. Okay, because of the expectations from the welfare state. The Constitution of India rejected the caste. Democratic political system extended equality to all. Benefits were provided for the backward caste, especially the Dalits. So initially benefits were given to the Dalits and the reservation were for Dalits. And the massification of education and occupation extended the secular opportunities to all, irrespective of the caste. In general, the backward caste were also treated as backward classes for the purpose of mobilization. All these developments changed the nature of backward caste movements. These changes can be summarized as the Sanskritization movement lost relevance, right? Particularly for Dalits. Why? Because they got better reservation. After the acceptance of Mandal Commission recommendation, such movements are disappeared from the Shudras also. So immediately after independence, Dalits, they are not trying to Sanskritize because they are getting all the benefits. Now Mandal Commission recommendation, when it is accepted, even the backward caste also not interested in, Sanskritization or no issues. Now due to the failure of welfare state to fulfill the aspiration of backward caste, new type of Dalit movements have emerged. The failure has been due to the existing gap between what is, see here you need to add something. There is a gap between what is legal and what is cultural. See, legally you are talking about equality and everything, but at the level of culture still that untouchability is still, okay, it is coming here, right? The failure has been due to the existing gap between legal and cultural level. At the level of culture, the caste continued. At the same time, the benefits promised by the welfare states faced problems in the implementation. So that led to a lot of issues. The various movements include, firstly, the Mahar movement. This is very important. Maharashtra, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar generated a strong trend towards conversion to Buddhism. So Mahar community converted to Buddhism. Dalit Panther movement was started in 1960s, modeling along the Black Panther movement in America with an aim to transform the unjust social order. Dalit Panthers targeted the cultural rules of the caste system. Dalit Panther was later on associated with the Republican Party movement aiming to gaining the political power. So they are based on Marxist ideology. So here we are talking pure Dalit movements, okay? A broad Ambedkarite movement existed in India which found best expression in the form of Bahujan Samaj Party led by Kanshiram. BSP movement was successful in acquiring the political power initially by horizontal mobilization and off late with the differential, that means vertical mobilization. See, initially horizontal mobilization means what? From the own community you mobilize people. Okay, the Dalit community. Differential mobilization means the vertical mobilization. Mayavadi even was able to mobilize the Brahmins also. Like, that is vertical mobilization. Mayavadi are successful in mobilizing the Brahmins for acquiring political power. A broad other backward caste movement existed in India since independence, claiming reservation for Shudras also. Various caste groups had been demanding reservation on the line similar to Dalits. The effort of such group, mainly caste association, pressurized the government policies and political parties for equating OBC with other backward class. Their efforts, now you can also now talk about this economically backward sections, that reservation, which is even this year I think it was applied in UPSC, right? Their efforts finally resulted in the acceptance of Mandal Commission recommendation. Okay, so OBC, the other backward caste, should be considered as backward class. Then you should extend the benefit to this particular group also. That is what this recommendation. Apart from this, after independence, new forms of Dalit movements within other religious groups demanding the benefits of reservation also started. These include the Dalits who got converted into Christianity and Islam. See, these Dalits already converted to Christianity and Islam. So this was due to the Christian missionaries and evangelization process, and to Islam also by expecting equality. They converted, but once they converted, the caste came into Islam also. Originally Islam was based on the principle of equality, okay, but because of the impact of Hinduism in Islam also, now there are different castes like Arzals, Ajlaf, different castes is there, Arzal, Ajlaf, etc. Ashraf at the top, Arzal at the bottom, Ajlaf at the middle. Okay, Ashrafs are those people who are directly the Mughals, the descendants of the Mughals, etc., the Pathans, etc. Then Arzals are the lower level, this Dalits, the converters of Dalits. So in Islam also now there are castes, especially because of the impact of Hinduism. Most of the Hindus who converted, they maintain that distance in Islam also. Okay, so now what they're demanding, especially after seeing the benefits that the Dalits are getting, the Dalit Christians and the Muslims are demanding the reservation. So presently a very strong Dalit Christian movement existing in India. Apart from this, a number of regional socio-religious reform movements and the cult movements exist which profess the cause of the upliftment of the Dalits. That's about Dalit movement and also backward caste movement. So there's a broad framework. I'm expecting that you understood what you need to write here. It's all about conceptual understanding. Whatever is coming to your reading, when you are reading, whatever is coming to you, you can take a note of it. You can add to the PDF. You can refer to different textbooks also for this. But I strongly recommend you to go for Vajiram for entire social movement. Okay. But if you have time, go through this, and also, Ghanshyam Shah. Small textbook is there, Ghanshyam Shah. Because you are going to get 2 questions from here. So if you have time, if you have for 2021, go for this. 2020, just ignore this, go for this. Anyway, you can read this ones, selective topics from paper 2.